All right, then. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming to our today's workshop or like bootcamp. My name is Peter Lee. I have my colleague David Watt in the chat who will help any questions that you have in the chat, or he will like sort of stop me if the question need to be addressed, as a whole session. Um, Okay, let's begin. So today's workshop is on business network extension. It's a new feature that we put into our Corda software or platform since our Corda 4.6 release. That was a couple months ago. Okay, actually, let me close my window. Yeah. Okay, so the business network extension was introduced in the Corda 4.6 release. Right now we are in Corda 4.7, and we will have our next release, Corda 8, in a couple, in a month or two. So we keep our quarterly release schedule. So let's begin. So before we jump into our latest feature set, I want to sort of give a quick recap for everybody on what is Corda. So Corda is a blockchain platform. It's a permissioned network that provides peer-to-peer communication on a need-to-know basis. There are two things, that's highlighted in the title. So first, Corda is permission network. It means it's private blockchain. That means onboarding a client onto the network needs a set of like auditings or a set of examinations before onboarding to a network. And second is it provides a need to know, it provides a peer-to-peer communication on a need to know basis. That means you can only share informations with consent. Your data will always be your data. Any counterparty or any participant on the network, if they are not sort of invited to join your transaction or get a copy of your transaction, they will never get broadcast. So for the past couple of years, that was our architecture, or that was our idea of a flattened network where the doorman or the network identity manager holds the responsibility of onboarding participants into the network. However, after they're onboard onto the network, they are freely to chat with each other. They are freely to do transaction with each other, on a peer-to-peer base. So back then, that was the idea. However, we felt that as time goes by, we see more and more business logic and actually bigger and bigger consortium get onto the Corda network. Things start get a little bit of interest, and then we are actually start seeing some issues. So what are the issues? So with the problem we currently are seeing is, for example, if you have a really large network of, let's say, 50 nodes or even 100 nodes, yes, the network identity manager will be responsible for onboarding those nodes into a network. However, the network identity manager can only assure that they are legit company, but they cannot assure that they will sort of behave the correct business logic in this global consortium or global network. So what we will see then is, for example, out of the 50 nodes, you as a company, you run your own node, you only sort of work with another, let's say, 5 nodes. And another 5 nodes as your sort of local business. The other 45 nodes in the network, you just don't care. Even though you guys are in the same global network, because you are all in the same ecosystem and the global consortium, the other 45 nodes, you just have no interest talking to them. I mean, at the moment. However, suddenly one day, you receive a flow, and the flow says flow, whatever example flow, initiator LU value 50, and the other party is party B, New York, US. It's good that we have some metadata about who's sort sort of sending you the message is party B, and the locality is New York, and the country code is US. However, that doesn't explain anything for you because you still have no idea like what's going on. Why are you receiving this message? So for you, it's like you're gonna be like, who's this? And then you're probably gonna check the other 5 nodes that doing business with you and ask them like if they know who's that party B is. And then other 5 nodes who never seen this node, who never transact or interact with this node, they will be like, oh, no clue, can't even understand what they are saying. So that's the problem we are solving. Is for the past, we have adopted a very flattened network sort of architecture. So the node is responsible for choosing the correct party to do business with, and after they choose the correct party, we are assuming they have a mutual agreement on collaborations or doing the transaction. However, whether it's by mistake or it's by intentionally spamming, you can choose a node that you never really have a reason to contact, and then you can contact them. And it doesn't mean that you are sort of a malicious attacker in the network. It just means that you are not follow the business rules. So in order to take care of that problem, we sort of relook at the network architecture, and then we break it down into some concepts and definitions. What we now focus are called the players. So on the left is our default Corda network, and it's a flattened pattern. So what you're gonna see is after you start your network, you will have a network operator, which is a network identity manager to bring people onto your network, and then you have the node operator, who are just basically the engineer who runs your individual node. It's probably an engineer from each company, right? And that's the default network. It's flattened, and then no metadata regarding the node. You will see some like a locality or country code is a US, as you see in the previous slide, but that's about it. We don't really know. We don't really know what's are the business value of. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Give me a second. I think this is not the latest slide. Let me check. I choose a little bit better wording for some of the, yes, this is a better one for the slide. Sorry about that. So let me again continue. So it's a default network, it's flattened, and you don't see the business related metadata regarding the node. So you don't know which sort of business logic that the node need to follow, what are the capability that node should have, and then you suddenly just what can happen is you just suddenly receive a flow. It's a legit flow on the Corda network, but you have no idea what it is. On the other side, where what I'm introducing all of you today, with the help of the business network extension, which is a developer toolkit, or you can call a software developer kit, SDK, you can actually implement the business logic into your applications. And what you will have see is the business network governor who creates the business network, overseeing your applications. And you're gonna see you can anonymate multiple business network admins, and also the rest of the participant of the network will be just a simple business network. With the help of that, what you're gonna achieve is a well-structured and managed membership list. So basically, you divided your participant into different categories, and then you can better manage them. And with the management, it means you can have entitlement based on different roles. So Any questions so far? Question regarding our previous model and then regarding the model that we will introduce today. Okay, cool. Let me go to the next slide. So in this slide, I will show you a pictorial explanation on what do I mean by the difference between a default network, which is flattened and no business related metadata, and then a business network with the business network extension. So in a simple network of 4 nodes, A, B, C, D, 4 nodes, 1 node tree, right? You will have a flattened network where everybody can just talk to everybody. There's no regulations or there's no simple ways to control the transaction unless you implement some like blacklist or like sort of blocking mechanism in your contract. But that's is just way too complicated. You need to have a jar attached to the transaction every time you do a transaction, and then you need to sort of basically tell the entire network, don't do business with this guy, stuff like that. So that's what's the default network. In a small scenario, where everybody know each other and then everything is, packed, it's perfect. You don't need to worry about other stuff. But in a bigger problem, in a bigger network, you will experience the problem that I was explaining earlier. So with the business network extension, what you're gonna have is the governor gonna create a business network. And inside of the network, you're gonna have different groups. So subgroup 1, subgroup 2, and then subgroup 3. And on the same level, you can have custom identities. So for example, I'm gonna give an example later. You on this chart and then explain it. But right now, I just gonna explain some terminologies. On the same level with the groups, you're gonna have some different identities. The identities will show basically indicate the difference responsibilities of the node in the network. Under the same custom identity, you can have multiple roles, and the different roles will have different permissions to execute a transaction or receive a transaction or something like that. So basically, the business network extension complicates the layer of the network, but also gives the capability of you can start attaching business related metadata on the node itself. And so when you're doing transaction or like initiating flows, it will have a more clear business intention or will carry more information into the transaction. So let me give you an example of what you can do with the business network extension. Imagine you are, I see Irina is replying a message, but a question, but I don't see the question. Well, I guess she's actually explaining right now. Then let me continue. So I give you an example. So imagine you run a global insurance consortium, global, right? Including North America, APAC, EMEA, and then even like Greenland, if you wish. So in that business network, you will have hundreds and thousands of nodes. So first thing you can do is you create a subgroup. Subgroup meaning that you can create a subgroup for APAC. You can create a subgroup for North America. You can create a subgroup for EMEA, right? So that's your group layer. Let me try to draw, right? I mean, I never draw it before, but let me give a try. Pen color red, okay? So those are your subgroups. Your subgroups are divided. So this one, let's call it APAC, and this one is EMEA, and then this one is North America. So those are your subgroups. And the second thing you can do is you can assign some custom identities. So what kind of custom identity? So imagine about insurance, then you will have insurance company. URANCE, insurance companies. So that can be one identity. And what else are in the insurance industry is a care provider. Care provider is another identity or categories who are the player in the insurance industry. So that's where you can draw another line to it. And then if we look at an insurance company, if you think about roles, there are multiple roles, even for an insurance company. You can have the policy maker, right? You can have the policy maker. You can have the payment company, like who specialize, insurance payment. Or I'm not too familiar. I just gotta make it up. It's like I know that there's like underwriting firm. Those underwriting firm can just be like data driven firm themselves, right? They work for the insurance company, so themselves they're a company themselves. So now let's look at node A. So what does node A means is node A sits in the APAC group, and it's an insurance company, and node A is both a policy maker and a payment company. So node A will handle payment and policy making at the same time. And if we look at node C sits in the North America group, and then he's an insurance company. And then what the node C can do is he can pay at the same time, and he can underwrite. The question is, I have a question in the chat, is can node have more than one identity? At the moment, no, but he can have multiple roles. So yeah, so we want to make the identity, custom identity of the node, a very clear indicator of the intuition of their business intent. So at the moment, you can only have one identity at a time. You can update them, right? Like for example, at the beginning, it's a care provider, and after they make a lot of money, they can become an insurance company themselves. Like that's doable, but they will need the network admin to sort of change it for them. And similarly, we look at node B and node C. Node B will in the EMEA group is a care provider, and then we'll have like whatever role 2 and the role 3. And node D is a care provider also in the EMEA group, but only has a capability of role 1 and role 2. So that's it for the architecture of like how to use a business network extension. Is there any other questions regarding the business network extension on like the overview on a high level? Cool. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna go to the next slide. So the next slide is the representation of the membership. How do I get rid of the pen? Okay, never mind. It's the last slide. So after we talk about the high levels, we want to talk about implementation, because at the end of the day, we are, it's a technical workshop. We want to teach you how to use it. So how is the membership represented on your Corda? It's actually by Corda state. So the business network extension grant you all the metadata on the application level. They are not information that are stored on the network level. What does that mean? That means you need to write all of those like method in your Corda in order to use that method, in order to use that feature. And also it means if you are in a very large network and then there are multiple Corda apps running on your network, the only people who are able to utilize this feature are the people who shared your Corda. So in another word is, for example, if you have 20 people, 20 nodes in a network, only 10 of the 20 nodes are using the Corda app that you came up with this business network extension feature. Then only the 10 nodes can set up a business network and then become become a member of the network and then have a membership list to manage them. The other 10 nodes who does not have who does not use your Corda app will not know anything about your business network or etc. So that's actually provide another layer of privacy. Is even though you are in the same network, the other people who you did not invite will actually do not aware that you have a business network set up among your people. So in that sense, if you have done some Corda development before, then you will see that Corda state is the best tool to store the informations on the Corda level about this membership representation, because Corda states are the facts that are shared by every member. And Corda states is easy to work with and then control their evolution, because as someone asked before, like, can you have more than one identity? No, but you can update them, and then Corda state can constantly get updated and eventually consumed. And lastly is, every time like you set up a membership, you want to utilize them, right? You want to utilize them in the way is you want to put them in the transaction, and then every time you do a transaction, there's some checks gonna automatically run the membership examination or membership verification for you. And then if it's a Corda state, then you can just attach the membership state into your transaction, and then you will have the contract doing the verification for you automatically. So with all that said, Corda business network extension, or you can call it the membership attestation, is recorded by two Corda state. One is called the membership state. It takes the parameter of business identity, business network, your specific role, and who's your who issue you the membership, and then your membership status. The status meaning that it can be like pending, activated, and then like suspend. And the second one is a group state. As I mentioned, that you can have subgroups inside your business network. It can be, in my previous example, can be APAC, EMEA, North America, or you name it. And with the group state, you can have two parameters, like there will be multiple parameters, but the most important one is which network the group state is in, and the participant list, and I just know like there's also, you can have a name for it, and then there's like gonna be the linear ID for the group state. But those are the key parameters or attribute of membership state and then the group state. With those, you will have the capability to set up a business network on the application level. I see there's another question is, you should use the account library to implement several identity on the node. Oh, no, that's actually the answer. Wait, I don't see the question though, but it looks like Irina already got it. So, I want to see the question. Is it in the QA? Oh. Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it's a question directly sent to the.
No, it's a question to the panelists, and I promoted you as panelist, but it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, but I mean, for the rest of the attendee, I do want them to know what's the question was about.
Okay. So the question was if it's possible to have several identities on a node.
Oh, wait, are you trying to answer that question like that he asked like previously?
Yeah.
I think he or she was asking, can one node have more than one business network identity? And I answered him or like her that at the moment you can only have one custom identity for the business network if you use the business network extension. But Irina is also correct. If you're talking about like Corda identity for the node without using the business membership, a business network extension, yes, you need to use Corda account. Yeah. So we are answering about the two different things. Cool. Yeah. Cool. We got it. No, thank you. Okay. All right. So if there's no other questions on the high levels, on the overviews, I'm gonna actually show you guys a demo. And before that, thank you for watching. R3 Corda, r3.com, Corda.net, our LinkedIn, Twitter. If you want to find us, in a direct message, go to slack.corda.net. All right, cool. Now let me get out of here. Want to keep your annotation discard. Okay. So am I still sharing my screen? Yes. Okay. Don't save. Okay. Okay. Cool. Will there be a recording? Yes. Yes. Okay. So let's talk about code. I mean, high level, briefly talk about code. So if you go to Corda, GitHub/Corda, where is our our home base for the entire Corda project, you will see multiple our repos, and then you search for the bn-extension. That's where the source code of the business network extension, or you can call it membership attestation. And the README has detailed implementations of the source code. However, is lack a little bit of explanation on how would you actually use it. It's well written for implementation, but you might be confused from the beginning if you you are not sort of if you don't research in depth with it. So that's why I'm here writing a writing a Corda app to basically show you how we can utilize this application. So I'm gonna go through the tutorial with different with the steps first, and then I will actually go back to the example that we were talking about. Insurance company, care providers, subgroups, APAC, EMEA, North America, and then this sample is exactly mimicking that example. And the link of the Corda app is here. Let me share it in the chat. Or David, can you get the link for us? Then I can just begin. Yeah, David. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's begin. So I'm gonna go through the different step with the Corda app to give you a high level or better understanding of what you will need to do to really utilize the business network feature of in your Corda app. So first thing first is you need to create a network. So if we go back to the diagrams again, you will see that the business network does not come out of nowhere. Someone need to create it, and that person will automatically become the network governor with a business network admin power. So in our demos, whoever run this command in their terminals will become the governor of the network, and then will be the admin or the first admin of the network. And step 2 is in our simple demos, we will have one node start the network, and then we will have 2 other nodes, one called the insurance company, one called the care provider, and they are the non-members yet, right? Because the admin just created the network. So the step 2 is the 2 non-members makes the request to join the network, which is this flow. And if we look at different parameters of this command is flow star, this is the flow name, and this is the admin, which called authorized party. And then we actually give the name of the admin node called the network operator. Right? Fair enough, right? And then we will input the network ID where like it's returned from the first flow call. And you're gonna run this flow twice, one time on each of the non-members. So step 2 is the 2 non-members will make the request to join the network. All right, and then step 3 is you go back to the admin node and then query all the membership requests. So flow star query all members. All right, fair enough. Because next step number 4, admin will need to activate the membership 2 times, right? But it's only the membership activation. We are not assigning identity. We are not assigning roles yet, just membership activation. So in the admin node terminal, we will run the command, flow star activate members and membership ID, and then this will be one of the non-members. And then after this flow, that non-member will become a member of the network. And then you will do it again, right, twice, because you have 2 members to activate their membership. Yeah, we can query all the members again when I actually show you guys the demo. Just to show you guys, you will see the status of the membership will change from pending to activate. So that's step 4. And then step 5 is admin will create a subgroup and then add group members. So this is where this step. So the admin or the network governor create a business network, right? And then the member onboard themselves into or request to join the network. So that's what we did. Now we need to start taking care of the subgroups. And for the simplicity of the demo, with our Corda app, demo Corda app, we are only creating one sub network group. What you need is the business network ID. Again, like this is coming from step number 1. And then the group name, you see, we call it exactly the APAC Insurance Alliance. And then the group participant is, the node operator, the insurance company, the network operator, the insurance company, and then this will be the care provider company. So right now, it's just like a unique ID. You probably like this is it's just a random like ID. You probably don't recognize it, but in the when I'm doing the demo, I'm gonna show you that all the ID will line up perfectly. So step 5, we will create the subnetwork, and then step 6, we will actually taking care the identities, right? We're gonna step 6 to 8, we're gonna give the different node different identities and their roles. So first, admin will assign business identity to one of the member. And if we look at the command, is flow star assign business network identity. The type of the firm is an insurance firm, and then the membership ID will be the insurance node. And then the BN identity is a code that we will label the node with. So if we want to sort of comprehend a little bit, is Asia Pacific, insurance company, and then there's a like random code 76 CZX. So towards the end of the demo, I'm gonna speak a little bit more about the code, the code, but right now let's just all treat it as a random code, right? So step 7, admin assign business identity related role to the member. So let's look at the command is flow star assign policy issuer role, membership ID 0011. You see this is a 0011. This was the insurance company that we just assigned them an insurance company identity. And then now we are adding them roles, which is the policy issuer. And the other parameter of the command is just, network ID. Lastly, after we take care of the insurance company, we want to also take care the other node, which is a care provider. So this the same flow with the step 7, but we give a different parameter. Flow star assign business network identity, firm time care provider, membership, this, and then another code. The code this time is different because right now it says Asia Pacific care provider, and then a code 440JS. So by now, what we have done is correctly set up the network. So someone may wonder, okay, wait a minute, like you only assign the business identity to the care provider. Why don't you assign like a role to the care provider? So I purposely did not do that because I want to show you guys that the role assignment of a member is actually optional. Even the business identity is also optional, but to give you guys a more holistic overview of the features that I assigned both node business identity. But to be honest and to be exact, even the business identity would be optional. But again, it depends on the complexity of your network. And actually, if you do remember that when I went through the slide, I said every role will have a different permission, right? So that part is also not depicted right now at the moment because I don't want to further complicate the use case. But just keep in mind, what you can do is, for example, if you assign a policy issuer role to one of the members, and you can give them more different permissions. For example, I just gonna start making stuff up. Like for example, if the company is in the Asia Pacific subgroup, and they receive a policy issuer role, what you can do is you can give them a specific month for writing policies. For example, a Singapore company can only issue policy between January or March, and let's say an Indonesian insurance company can only issue policy between, let's say, February to May. No, I totally made that up, but probably not make sense. But those are kind of the permissions you can think about and then actually add it to your application. I'm not doing it right now because it's just gonna make it so complicated. I want to keep it simple, but also at the same time give you a holistic role idea. So that's a divide line. Right now the network setup is done and the business flow begins. So there's actually only one business flow. It's issue a policy between a issuer insurance company and a care provider, and then the insuree here is just a string. So just to give the insurance stay some random information to carry around, so it looks pretty realistic. So with this flow, oh, that's my cat. Not today, man. When I actually run the flow, I will purposely show you how you can like fail the transaction because you are not sending the transaction between the correct participant. And that's where you can also see that that's how you can utilize business network extension to its capability. So without further ado, let me actually run it for you, so you will see. I will zoom in a little bit. So, oh, I see a hand raised. Is there a question? Can we see the build algorithm? Sure. I mean, build algorithm is not it's not that complicated. You know, if you look at the top, it just build script, blah blah blah, dependencies. So, I mean, I don't know which part you want to look. Which part you want to take a look. I can show you like the deploy nodes where I define the different node names. But besides that, all you need to do is just add the two Corda apps, which is the SDK, or you can call the business Corda BN extension, right? And then you just added it. Just want to see the deploy. Yeah, oh yeah, sure. Deploy nodes, Corda formation depends on jar, Corda app contract flow, and both contract and workflow for the BN extension node, you know, default node tree, and one node is called node operator. One node is called the insurance company, where we are going to issue the insurance identity, and where another one called the care pro, where we're gonna issue the care provider identity. That's about that. Yeah. Right now it's taking like a long time because I'm streaming, also sharing my screen, etc. But normally it's gonna take like a minute or a minute 20 seconds. The business network extension is not that heavy, so you don't need to worry about it slow your development down or anything. It just right now I don't I mean I have the Zoom running, and then I'm actually streaming, so that's why it's slow. Yeah, that's all. Okay, done. Finger crossed that QL-9 Java. Finger crossed that my CPU can hold it together. Node run nodes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, great. You are a Kotlin developer, so really like that Corda is in Kotlin. Can you talk about why you choose Kotlin as a programming language? Why I choose Kotlin as a programming language, or you mean why the platform team? So I platform team. So okay, I can't really speak for them, but from my experience is Kotlin has been very has adopted a philosophy of simplicity, minimalism and simplicityism, if that's a word. It's very easy to implement, and it just saves a lot of hassle for a developer. So that's also my personal experience. So for example, if you want to define a state, that's about it. You don't need to write getters, and you don't need to write constructors. You don't need to, yeah. So even with IntelliJ, you can command N to auto-generate everything. But with Kotlin, that's about it. Like 10 lines of code, I probably need to write like 50 in the Java. So for me, as a lazy developer, that's why I choose Kotlin. For this specific demo, I didn't want to choose column. However, this was a new feature. It will be easier for me to implement it in sort of the source code language, given a short amount of time I have. But I will write a Java equivalent version of this Corda app and then post it on our samples folder. I hope that's solved your questions. And also it's like, our engineers, we are working in, blockchain stuff is, state of the art technology. Of course, they are chasing the new language as well. And also, so far, I guess Kotlin has been pretty solid for us. We are pushing public engagement with Java community because Java is just naturally has a 12 million like developer base, where Kotlin probably has like 1 million per se, if that's even the case. So, on the outside, we are definitely pushing for, Corda is Corda can work with Java perfectly fine. But internally, the source code is still written in Kotlin. That's not necessarily a contradiction. That means like we are very flexible. Illustrate the integration test with regard to the step that you defined earlier. Are those steps illustrated by integration test? Yes and no. So if you talk about those steps, so those steps are the actual steps I need to run right now to show you how you can use, like, how the heck one of the node is not startup. To show you how you like utilize a feature. In terms of integration tests, also true, because if you want to write integration tests to test your application, those are the steps you also need to follow, right? You probably don't need to query it. You can just like take the return and then like just cut out the ID, membership ID, and then do the activation. But yes, you got to follow the step. Okay, so now everything started: node tree, network operator, insurance company, and then care provider. Okay, let's begin one by one. Flow start create network. I'm gonna go to the network operator node, right? And then flow start create network. You're gonna see the return message that I wrote. Like, it doesn't come from the source code. I wrote like multiple wrapper messages just to do this demo, because the source code will just not return any string human readable return message. Also for a reason, like I'm not gonna explain like today, but it's intentionally that every time you call a source code method, always return a signed transaction ID. So like that has a cost. So, but what you will see in my sample, in my demo, you will see that flow start create network will return a message that a network was created with a network ID, this one. And as we said in the steps, we need that network ID. In what way? In a way that we want save ourselves some times. We're gonna replace all the network ID that in this README with this one. Smart, right? Replace. Okay. So what we are looking at right now is, if we go to the two non-members and make the request join the network now, we can just copy this and then we will have the correct network ID, 2FB, 2FB. So we go to the insurance company, right? We paste in this, we run it, we go to the care provider, we run this, and we need, it will say request membership sent from the insurance node ourselves to an authorized network member, network operator. Same thing will show up on here. If we go back to network operator, we continue all the steps. We will query it. What you're gonna see is ourselves. Network operator is the governor. I said it will automatically be promoted as the admin, and the membership status is active. for himself, of course. If you look at the insurance company, the status is pending. If you look at the care provider, the status is also pending. So now let's go back to the IntelliJ again, and then do our little trick is select, command replace, and this is the insurance company we want to take care. So let's find the correct insurance company ID, copy, select the replace. So now we are looking at a command that will allow us to activate the insurance company. We can actually run it. We do the query again, we will see that the insurance company now is activated. We'll do the same thing for the care provider. We select, do our trick, and care provider UUID, unique identified ID, paste in, replace. And we need this command in our network operator, paste in, and if we query again, we'll see all members are activated. So continue to our next step. So we took care of the membership activation. So now we have a business network with 3 members, 1 network governor, 1 insurance company, 1 node called the insurance company, and 1 node called the care provider. We have not assigned any identity yet, but we will do it later. So, but before we assign identity, remember like there's another sort of aspect is you got to create a subgroup. And for today, oh, wrong button. Quit. Okay. What I need, IntelliJ, yeah. So create a network group. We look at the parameters. We need a network ID. The group name will just be APAC Insurance Alliance, and then we need a 3 UUID, right? If we remember that we replace the UUID for the insurance company, we replace the UUID for the care provider, but we never replace the UUID for the network operator. So when we create a group, we will just need to replace the first one, because if you look, the first one is the network operator, the second one will be the insurance, and the third one will be the care provider, or like, you know, other way around. But let's just confirm. So we have a CA9 for the network operator, right? CA9, and we have the 6F0 for the insurance company, and then we have the care provider for 7E9, and everything is correct. So we're gonna, as a network admin, we're gonna create this subgroup called APAC Insurance Alliance, and from the return message, we have done it. So APAC Insurance Alliance has created under the business network, this one. The group ID is this one, and added a participant show as a membership ID. The CA one will be the network operator. The 6F is the insurance. The 7E is the care provider. So as of now, we have added the 3 members we activated in the business network and add them into a same subgroup. Can you create another subgroup? Yeah, you can, but I'm not gonna show it today. Next, we just gonna take this command, because we are already, like, this is correct, membership ID is already replaced, and then we do not need to worry about the BN identity. So what this flow will do is the network admin, one of the authorized user, will assign the insurance company a business identities. And in this case, since it's an insurance company, we will issue them an insurance identity. And after we issue the insurance company the insurance identity, we'll also at the same time issue them a policy issuer role. So this is all done by the network admin. And the next one is, after we take care of the insurance company, we also need to take care of the care provider company. So again, admin will assign the business identity, issue the care provider business identity to member 7E, and 7E is the care provider. So as of now, you know, network setup is done, and the next steps will be the business flows. So, but before we continue, let's go to an insurance company, the node, and then verify what kind of state that we receive. We actually receive 3 states. You will see like there will be 3 reference like here. Yeah, that means we have 3 states. So let's scroll to the top and then read them one by one. So first, you get a group state. So what does a group state means? Remember, like in our slide, the representation of the membership will show up as 2 states. One is the membership state, one is the group state. So membership is actually the yourself. The group state identify which group you are in. And right now we are looking at the group state, which has a network ID where the network is, the name, who created the group, and what time is created. And that's another like linear ID of it. The participant is network operator, insurance company, and then the care provider. So that's your group state. Next, we got a membership state, and the membership state is actually network operator. And you will see some status, activation, role, issuer is himself because he's the admin anyway. And then the participant, if you are familiar with Corda state, the participant of a state indicates who will store the state. And in this case, yes, we will have all 3 parties storing the membership state because they are in the same network. They know each other. And when they know each other, they will store their membership information in their database. All makes sense, right? So that's our first membership, which is network operator. And then if we scroll down, we will see the second membership, which is the insurance company, which is themselves. Status active. You will see a like empty bracket for the row, but that's a bug for it's a bug on the CLI of the node interface. Like if you do it in the flow, you query in the flow, you're gonna see it, but it just right now the terminal is not properly populating the rows. I had already created a ticket for that for the platform team to fix it. And you scroll down another membership state, which is a care provider, and then you actually see the business identity there, their code, right? Similar for the insurance company. And where's the code? Here, APAC insurance company 76 CDX. So that's all the state you have. That means we keep our words. We weren't BSing about like the state representation of the membership, stuff like that. So let's actually continue to our business flow. I see there's a question. So is everything stored on IDAP? So what IDAP server are you using? What do you mean by IDAP? Corda default uses H2 database for test deployment. We support any kind of SQL. I actually, you got me, man. Like I don't know the terminology or like the definition behind it, but Corda use any SQL. Corda use any SQL-based database, and the default is H2. Like what I'm running right now, there's a H2 database attached to the node at the moment. So let me go back to the steps. The next one is the insurance company will issue a policy to issue E. I mean, yes, issue a policy to issue E, but who are the participant of the transaction is a care provider and then the issuer company. So this is the flow that we want to run. And remember what I told you, I'm gonna purposely fail this transaction just to show you that the business extension works. And here it is. So I run this flow on the network operator's terminal, and it give me an error saying that network operator business identity should be an insurance identity. This is perfect demonstration of the business network extension is working because we never give network operator a insurance identity. If we use the same command in the insurance company, we will see that transaction will finish because the insurance company has business identity, business network identity as the insurance company, and also has the policy issuer role and the permission behind it. So Yeah, that's our you know oh, okay, the second to the last step, the real last step is I want to show you that our transaction actually got through, and which is it does. I query the insurance state on the counterparty, which is the care provider, and then we see it. Insurer, the insurer is the issuer, the insurer is the insurance company, the insuree is me, Peter, and then the care provider is themselves. The network ID of this transaction is attached here, and then the policy status is initiating policy. And it's a linear state, so it has a linear ID, and then it follows all the contract. So that's all for today's demo. Thanks everyone for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop in the chat. We are about like a couple minutes over time, but I hope you learned something today. So my name is Peter Lee. We have my colleague Dr. Irina in the participant panelist list, and also my colleague David Watt in the panelist list. Feel free to send us any questions or emails at devrel@r3.com, or feel free if you want to email me peter.lee@r3.com. So yeah, thanks everyone for coming, and I hope to see you all in our next session.